Let's turn your creature into a pretty rock.
And if you're going to do something, you might as well do everything.
Welcome to MTG Unraveled, where we each choose a magic card and over-explain it to distract you from your current hyperfixation. I'm Rafa.
And I'm Ryan. This episode, we are talking about our favorite graveyard hate. Any piece that interacts with a graveyard and says, yeah, you don't need that there.
Yeah, what are you doing digging through the trash? Get out of here.
Get out of here. We're going to go ahead and start off with figuring out whatever your card is.
Okay. It's 3 generic and a black, instant, and it's a rare from Final Fantasy.
I don't know Final Fantasy cards.
And obviously, it hates graveyards.
Obviously.
Yep.
And something about a pretty rock.
Yeah, you have no guess, I'm assuming, for...
No, I did not expect an instant or sorcery, I can tell you that.
Instant speed graveyard hate is underrated, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you don't see it coming from it because it's from a card in your hand. So anyway, I'll read you the text box and let's see if you remember the name of this card. Exile each opponent's graveyard. When you do, choose up to 1 target creature card exiled this way. Create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's an artifact and it loses all other card types.
Oh, you run this card.
Yes, you remember me playing this card, huh?
Yeah, I do. I don't know the name.
That's all right. I'll give you the name. It's Espers to Magicite. Not related to Esper, the magic 3-color combination.
But it is in your Esper deck, isn't it?
It is in my Esper deck. That's coincidence.
Flavor!
So this card isn't the strongest graveyard hate in my opinion. If you're just looking for what's the fastest, most efficient way to hate on a graveyard, I mean, you've got 1 mana rocks or 1 mana artifacts that will hit on graveyards really well. This isn't the best. It's not by no means. It's 4 mana, which is a lot to exile, but it does get exile everyone's graveyard with the potential upside that if there's a creature in there, then you get a copy of it that's not a creature. So it has a high ceiling and the low floor is exactly what you're putting in a deck for. Graveyard hate. It came in the Mardu Final Fantasy Commander deck, which was Terra was the head commander of that. Yeah, and it's not abused in that deck like it can be in an artifact deck.
Like in your deck.
My commander is Tawnos, which is a 1 and a blue creature that you can tap it to copy an artifact that you have. Yeah. So when I make a copy of a creature that's not a creature anymore, but it is an artifact, I can start making copies of it in my deck.
Yeah.
Which is how it gets abused. Yes. If you can make copies of artifacts, I would heavily consider running this card. So there's quite a few rules. You don't choose a target for Espers to Magicite at the time you cast it. Rather, a second reflexive ability triggers when you exile each opponent's graveyard this way. You choose a target for that ability as it goes on the stack. Each player may respond to this triggered ability as normal. That's saying that when you resolve this card, you actually don't have a target when you resolve this card. Yeah. When you put this card on the stack, there's no target.
Yeah.
But then as you're resolving the spell, you exile all the graveyards, and if there are creatures, you can choose one to target, and a triggered ability goes onto the stack that has a target.
Yeah.
So there's no deflecting swat on this card. You cannot deflecting swat this card. You could deflecting swat the triggered ability, but you can't deflecting swat the Espers to Magicite.
Yeah.
Okay, next one. Except for the listed exceptions, the token copies exactly what was printed on the original card and nothing else. It doesn't copy any information about the object the card may have been at any point before it was exiled. So that's just saying that, if a card gets sacrificed and then you exile it, it doesn't copy whatever that card was on the battlefield. It copies what it says on the card that you exiled. I think. I don't know why this needs clarified, actually.
I don't know.
Yeah, whatever.
Because they over-explain things.
Yeah. The token is an artifact instead of its other types. This is a copyable value of the token that other effects may copy. Let's say there was a Dauthi Voidwalker in the graveyard and I make a copy of it. That Dauthi Voidwalker is not a creature. It's only an artifact. And then if I go and copy that artifact of that Dauthi Voidwalker, it will be a second artifact Dauthi Voidwalker, not a creature.
Yeah. Which is relevant when it comes to removal or things like that.
Like if you enchant a creature and you make a copy of that enchanted creature, you don't get the enchanted part of the creature, but this one intrinsically changes.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot of effects out there that say it becomes an artifact in addition to its other types or, whatever in addition to its other types, and it's not one of those.
No, it's not. Yeah, it is weird. Not a lot of cards say this. If the copied card has X in its mana cost, X is 0.
Whoa.
Mind blown, never heard that. If a card copied by the token had any when this permanent enters abilities, the token also has those abilities, and they'll trigger when it's created. Similarly, any as this permanent enters or this permanent enters with abilities that the token has copied will also work. Pretty straightforward.
If you copy a Mockingbird, it will enter as whatever, except no X.
Yeah.
0X. You can copy a 1 mana.
Or a token that has no mana value.
Yeah.
So there are a couple combos with this card that I had not considered and never assumed that I would ever do. And if you pull it off somehow, it's only because your opponents were running these cards in the first place, obviously. Because there's no way to make a copy of it unless it's in an opponent's graveyard. So Devoted Druid, infinite green mana. Mm-hmm. Devoted Druid says, if you don't know, tap add a green or put a -1/-1 counter on it and untap it. So when it's not a creature, which is a very common.
As many as you want on there.
Yep. Unlimited -1/-1 counters and unlimited green mana. There's another one, Synod Artificer, and an artifact that produces 3 or more mana. This is another known combo. Maybe we've never come across it, but plenty of people had. It untaps non-creature artifacts, so you can pay X, tap X non-creature artifacts. So when you make a copy of this, it is a non-creature artifact. So if you put 2 mana into it, you can untap it and untap another mana rock. And if that mana rock can make 3 mana, then you can have infinite mana by tapping the rock for 3, put 2 into that, and untap both the mana rock and this permanent that you just made. There are probably other combinations but these were just the 2 that I was like, when I Googled, are there combos with this? Those are the 2 that I was able to find. But I bet you, if you play this card and you see enough in graveyards, you'd be like, holy cow, if this is not a creature, it goes crazy. I remember playing this card. Do you remember what I stole from you when I played it?
Was it my other Elish Norn?
No. I stole your Soul Warden when I was at 3 life.
Oh, right.
I stole your Soul Warden. And I think in one turn I was able to make like 3 or 4 Soul Wardens. And then there was a token deck that went after me. So I ended up at like over 100 life by the time they rebuilt their board. It was hilarious.
So funny. All my hard work stolen.
It was at instant speed too. So everyone thought I was dead when I went to untap, but I did this right before my turn, then made 3 or 4 copies and said, okay, your turn.
Okay,
play creatures. I'd call that middle of the road. Like I copied a 1 mana creature. Imagine if you copy something crazier. Imagine if you copy, I don't know, something that draws you cards and you start making multiple copies of it. A Fairy Mastermind. Imagine there's a Fairy Mastermind in the bin, and instead of having 1, you have 3 Fairy Masterminds. Go ahead, draw your second card. I dare you.
Yeah, your deck specifically just breaks this so easily.
It's not the only deck that can copy artifacts, so that's not a unknown strategy. No. So this card doesn't go in every deck, but if you're copying artifacts, this card can have a lot of fun. The art is by AKAGI. It's got Kefka on it, who's a bad guy from Final Fantasy, and he's throwing Magicites as he's like hanging from a pole. It's some interesting art. If you haven't ever looked at it closely, go look at it. It's pretty awesome.
What on earth is a Magicite?
There are things in Final Fantasy VI. I've never played the game, so fair warning. I did my best to understand what this card is talking about. There are things called Espers, and Espers are very strong magical beings. And when they die, they turn into Magicites, which are no longer like animate, but you can communicate with them and use them for powers. So they don't act like a creature in Magic, but they do act like an artifact. So it's very appropriate that Espers to Magicite, you're taking a magical being and turning it into a condensed crystal to use to your abilities.
Pretty rocks. Got it.
Yep.
Cool.
Pretty rocks.
Got it. Yep.
Yeah, it all makes sense. There's flavor text on the card too. It says, "Come to me, my Magicite pretty. Come and help me build the Magitech Empire of Kefka." I don't know what Kefka sounds like, so sorry I freaking ruined that.
That really just gave me like Wicked Witch of the East.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get you and your little dog too.
Yeah, I have no idea what Kefka sounds like, but I bet you I read that wrong and someone would be like, "Oh!" Yeah. So this can be played in Legacy, Vintage, Commander, and Oathbreaker. And how much do you think this sweet, sweet card would cost you for the extended art? Let's go extended art.
$3.
No, 50 cents, dude.
Oh.
I bet you if this was like 2 or 3 mana, it'd probably be a few bucks. But the fact that it's 4 mana is
that makes sense.
It really can do broken stuff, though. Give it a try. What do you think of this card?
It's a good card. It has a lot of potential. Like you said, there's definitely certain decks that it feels more appropriate in. I would not throw this into just any deck, just as graveyard hate. The one thing is that it exiles all of your opponent's graveyards, which is nice, but it is pretty expensive. So
Yeah, if it's a 4-mana exile graveyards get a card draw engine, it is really good for 4 mana, but you can't guarantee that. That's the unfortunate part.
No.
Yeah. Although I do think they're just more and more generically powerful creatures. So I think this card does just get better over time. 4 mana is a tall order, but depending on your meta, just look at graveyard sometime and be like, if I had this card in my hand, how good would it be?
Yeah, I do think that it probably is pretty good on a regular basis at our table, just with the power level that our pod plays at in general.
Only resolved it that one time, and I had a blast doing it. I want to play this card more.
What a surprise. It targeted my stuff.
I needed life, and you had the life gain in your graveyard.
I had just taken away all that life.
All right, let's go ahead and see what you have for your card.
Okay, mana value, black or a green. Creature, elf shaman, rare, first released in Return to Ravnica, and it is a 1/2.
And I wish that if they changed the hybrid rule, I could play this in my mono green deck.
Oh, I wish they would change that rule.
Yeah, go ahead and read the text box.
Okay, text box. Tap, exile target land card from a graveyard, add 1 mana of any color. Part 2. Pay a black, tap, exile target instant or sorcery card from a graveyard. Each opponent loses 2 life. Third part. Green, tap, exile target creature card from a graveyard. You gain 2 life.
This card's good. It can do so many things.
This card is so good. It does everything. It ramps you, it drains your opponents, it handles graveyards, specifically targeted stuff, which I really, really like, all for 1 singular mana.
And it is instant speed to do those things too if you need it.
Yes.
If someone's playing a graveyard deck, you can hold this over them. Be like, go ahead, try and cast a reanimate.
Yeah, I don't have to go, ooh, are you going to do the thing with your graveyard, or you? Who do I bajuke about? No, I can wait and be like, oh, you want to target that?
Yep.
Nope. I'll gain 2 life instead.
What's the name of the card?
This card is Deathrite Shaman.
Yeah, sweet card.
I run it. I love it. So there have been 8 total reprints, which I think is fantastic. There are 3 different arts. The original art is by one of our favorite Magic artists, Steve Argyle.
The original?
The original one, and the one that's on most of the reprints.
I want to get that signed now.
I know. I knew that, and I keep forgetting that every time we go. I literally was at his stand this year and didn't have it with me. The other 2 arts, one is from the 30th anniversary Secret Lair Countdown, and it's by Mark Riddick. It's the kind of like etched, like it's not full color, it's green and white and black. It's really cool. And then the other one is Inked Secret Lair, which was done by a tattoo artist, Virginia Elwood. And it's that like a new American tattoo style. Not quite my cup of tea. I don't particularly care for those kind of tattoos either, but I know the art style and it's done very well.
Is it like super vibrant?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And like kind of cartoony. So this card is legal in Pioneer, Vintage, and Commander. It is banned in Modern and Legacy.
Wow.
Yeah, it was banned in like 2018 and 2021, I believe, and it's because formats that utilize fetch lands so much, it gives you so much advantage.
That makes sense, yeah. We just don't play Modern or Legacy. I don't know why, like, yes, it seems very powerful. It seems crazy to me that that's banned. Like, it's that good. Like, if you're playing fetches, shouldn't you be penalized for, or not penalized? If it can give your opponent an advantage, fetches give you an advantage. So, like, that seems crazy to me that it gets banned for that. But yeah.
It was breaking the formats is basically what I read.
I have no idea what Modern or Legacy looks like. I'm sure that they knew what they were doing when it got banned. Yep. I'm not saying that it shouldn't have been banned. That just seems crazy to me from an outside perspective, never playing the formats.
Yep. Way to over-explain yourself.
You're
All
welcome.
right. What do you think the price for just like a base copy of the card is?
I honestly have no idea. I just know this card used to be like over $20. I doubt it's over $20 anymore with how much it's been printed. So I'm going to guess like $10.
Yeah, just about $5 to $9 for almost any of the base arts. The secret layers are somewhere between 13 and 20, depending on foiling, non-foiling, etc. This one also has a serialized version of the card.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
And there is one available on eBay.
I'm going to take a guess. $2,500.
No,
More?
No.
Less?
way less.
What? We need it.
I know. Just for a mere $700.
Oh, only 700.
Only $700.
This card's freaking good. It must be a weird number.
Yeah, I don't remember what the number was, but it wasn't like
Yeah.
the funny number
Yeah.
or anything.
Or like this.
It's
same
not number
repeating.
one.
Yeah. No.
There are only 2 rules text for it because it's pretty straightforward as to what it does. The first one is because the first ability requires a target, it is not a mana ability. It uses the stack and can be responded to. It's not like tapping your arcane signet. You have to target a card in the graveyard, so it gives everybody priority. And the second one is if the target of any of Deathrite Shaman's 3 abilities is an illegal target when the ability tries to resolve, it won't resolve and none of the effects will happen. You won't add mana, no opponent will lose life, or you won't gain life as appropriate.
The first one seems kind of crazy because I think of it like a mana ability. So like,
Yeah, you think of it as tap add mana, but you have to target something, and that allows your opponents to make it an invalid target if they so want to.
yeah, it makes me think we've been playing against a Baitor deck that he keeps bringing back Spore Frog, and I'm like, why have I never seen my Deathrite Shaman when Spore Frog's getting recurred
Seriously.
every turn? Like, why can't I pull this card?
Seriously. Being a powerful card, it is played quite a lot. It is in 10.6% of decks that it can be in on EDH Rec.
That doesn't surprise me the least.
Nope, not at
Yeah.
all. I actually kind of expected it to be a little higher.
Yeah. It's a very powerful 1 mana. I think of this as a dork, but it is graveyard hate.
Top 3 commanders, which the first one highlights again just how powerful this card is because it is a very popular CEDH pairing. It is Timna the Weaver, 1 white black, legendary human cleric, lifelink. At the beginning of each of your post-combat main phases, you may pay X life, where X is the number of opponents that were dealt combat damage this turn. If you do, draw X cards. It has partner with Thrasios, Triton Hero. Pay 4, scry 1, then reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it on the battlefield tapped. Otherwise, draw a card, also with partner. And that is in 76%
Dang.
of Timna Thras decks. Has almost nothing to do with what either of these creatures does. They are CEDH commanders, and again, it's powerful. It goes in a lot of CEDH deck lists.
Well, and in CDH, it's almost not guaranteed, but it is very likely there will be at least 1 fetch in someone's graveyard by turn 2.
Yeah. The second one is 54% of Tazagur, the Golden Fang, 5 black legendary creature, human shaman. It has Delve. Each card you exile from your graveyard while casting this spell pays for 1. And then it has 2 green or a blue, mill 2 cards, then return a non-land card of an opponent's choice from your graveyard to your hand. So again, you're not relying on other people's stuff. You can use Deathrite for your own stuff, and bonus of the graveyard hate for opponents. And then the third one is 40% of the Gitrog monster. 3 black-green legendary creature frog horror. Death touch. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice the Gitrog unless you sacrifice a land. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Whenever 1 or more lands are put into your graveyard from anywhere, draw a card.
Yeah.
So you are obviously putting lots of lands in there. You're going to get lots of mana off of Deathrite. And that's really all that I had. It was just Deathrite Shaman is such a good card. It's probably one of the very few graveyard hate pieces that I actually run, to be honest. And there's a reason that I run it.
Yeah, graveyard hate is like eating your vegetables. You really should do it more, but it's not fun to do it. Like every time you play against a graveyard deck, you're just like, I wish I had more graveyard hate.
Every time.
Yeah.
Honorable mentions, as per usual. Do you want to go ahead and start with what you got?
Sure, yeah. One of the cards that we've just never picked it up because we didn't open a lot of Modern Horizons 3 is Boggart Trawler, which is 2 and a black creature. I don't remember its power and toughness, but when it enters, you exile an opponent's graveyard. So it's a 3-mana creature that can exile a graveyard if you need it, or it's the black bolt land on the other side. And I'm just like, I should throw this in some of my decks just to have more graveyard hate, but it's a land if I need a land instead. And then, of course, Bajuka Bog, you already mentioned, is like, I throw it in every black deck ever.
Yeah.
And then I do run a couple in my Crimes deck, like Relic of Progenitus, I believe is what it's called. You can pay 1 and exile all graveyards, or you can tap and make someone exile a card. They get to choose, though. But if they're in a dedicated strategy, or if they're in a dedicated graveyard deck, you can at least slowly pick away at some of their stuff that they're throwing in there. But those are the ones that I thought of first. What about you?
One of the ones that first came to mind, and it's because we saw it on the Extra Turns episode, is Agatha's Soul Cauldron.
Oh, yeah.
It's seems like such a fun card to play. The ones that I have, a lot of them, I don't even think of it as graveyard hate because most of the time you have it in there for your own reasons. Same as Deathrite Shaman. Apparently that's the kind of graveyard hate I like. And then we talked about Douthie Voidwalker recently. Every time one comes down and I'm playing one of my graveyard decks, I'm just like, oh my gosh, my stuff isn't going where I need it to go. And then the last one that I run, that again, I do not think of this as graveyard hate at all, is Dino DNA. So it's a 1-mana artifact, and then you can pay 1, tap it, exile target creature from a graveyard, activate only as a sorcery. But then you can pay 6 and create a token that's a copy of target creature card exiled with this artifact, except it's a 6/6 green dinosaur creature with trample, activate only as a sorcery. I have it in there because I can get back my dinos if they end up in the graveyard, but you can also exile other people's creatures, which I've done a few times, and then you can get them too. We love bringing up, I could have a 6/6 trample Lotho if I really wanted to for
That'd be hilarious.
7 mana.
Or 6/6 Fairy Mastermind.
For 7 mana. But I have used it simply to exile something from a graveyard. Like, I don't want to see that coming back.
Yeah.
Get it out of there. It'll sit there. It'll sit exiled. I'm never making a copy of that. That's fine. It has to be really good for me to pay 6 mana and make a copy of it, man. That's all I have, though.
Yep. So at the end of each episode, we like to talk about something that we've been hyperfixating on, and you have something for us today, right?
Yes. It's so funny because he walked into the front door and had a package in his hand, and the moment that I saw the label on the side, my face lit up, and my kids knew, oh, that's a Stray Kids thing. You only smile that way when it comes to Stray Kids. I've now been a stay for quite a few months now. Started back in August is when I found them. And I've learned more and more about it. And the obsession has done nothing but grow deeper to the point where even though I don't get all the benefits that a lot of people who say live in Korea get, I had to become one of their official fan club members, right? And that's what I just got today. I have my own little membership card that has my name on it. Nobody else can use it. And it gives you all of these benefits, like getting into their fan meetings that they really only do in Korea. So if I ever fly there, that'll be really cool. But it also came with other benefits besides that. I got a little box that has some cute little knickknacks, a whole bunch of photo cards, a new photo book. And then you are in their official fan group on the fans app, which they go in and randomly will message updates about their day and respond to fans. It's actually, I also have Bubble, which is another app, which is like one-on-one texting that I've talked about before. But this one, it actually seems more likely that you'll get interaction, or they also have a specific fans live service, which not all of the members have used. I'm not even sure some of them will because of some issues that happened with the membership, but they've been going live on there a lot. So you get a lot more of that live content that you may not have gotten with them going live on Instagram or, whatever other site. Those were always very few and far between. These ones have been like every week, at least one of them is going live for something.
This just reminds me that when we were in Vegas for MagicCon, literally the only thing we did besides MagicCon was go to the K-pop store. But we went to a K-pop store, got ramen, and then literally all we did was MagicCon. That's all we did in Vegas.
Okay, all I'm going to say is, number one, I probably spent just as much at the K-pop store as I did at MagicCon. Leave me alone. Number two, they better tour somewhere within the US in the next year or so because I am getting prepared. The fans membership helps with like getting early access to concert tickets and stuff. And then at the K-pop store, I bought their official light stick and got a couple more albums and things like that.
I remember pointing it out and you're like, go ask if it's the new version because I don't want the old one. And I'm like, I didn't even know there was a new version.
No, the old version won't sync up at their concerts anymore. And by the time they have a concert, who knows? Maybe there'll be a version 3 and mine will be outdated. Whatever. It sits in a really pretty display case on my shelf. But this is just another example. And like I said, as I've gotten more and more into learning about K-pop, which is an industry, not a genre of music.
It still has a sound, in my opinion.
For the most part, unless they're Stray Kids who literally break that generic sound. But there's just so much more to it than what you would ever get with any Western musicians or just celebrities in general. There was this whole thing about the membership this year because it comes with the fan kit. And for fans who live in Korea, this is more essential, quote unquote. It's not essential to anyone to get because you have to have the membership, from my understanding, to get into the fan meetings and all of those things, pop-up stores, whatever it may be. And they do a ton of those there. So they have way more access to go to events for these guys, but you have to have the membership. And they were basically protesting the price of it this year. And so the company listened, they responded, and they said, okay, we'll make it cheaper and cut it by whatever X amount. But then they also took out a bunch of the perks from the membership package, the kit that you get. Like, we were supposed to get a freaking plushie. I don't get that now. Now you have fans who are mad because people complained and they cut these things. And then you have people who are like, well, no, they had a reason to, but then they didn't cut the part that they were talking about because they were talking about the actual just membership prices, not the price of the fan kit, because you don't have to buy the fan kit. You can buy the membership and just be a member and get your membership card.
Yeah, but it's essential.
I was just happy to get it because I think it's worth it for the extra, content that I get from it, especially as an international stay. I only get so much. So I'll reach out and try to find as much as I can because I don't have the opportunities that a lot of other people might have. I cannot just travel to Korea whenever I want to go to a fan meeting. And so I looked at it and I was like, the $40 or whatever to be able to get all of this sounds good to me. So anyway, it had been a while since I talked to you guys about Stray Kids, so I felt the need to do it again, especially since I'm now an official part of the fan club. And I will just throw out there again, if you haven't gone and listened to them or you don't know who they are, go do it. Their music is absolutely incredible. It does not matter what genre you are into. You will enjoy them. They have little bits of everything.
It's true. I even have a bias now, so.
I made him go and see the Dominate tour experience. Yes, watching a concert on an IMAX screen.
Yeah, never done anything like that before. It was fun.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
It was great. Sweet. I also own it on DVD now.
DVDs are antiquated. Why?
Which I bought at the K-pop store in Vegas. We don't have a K-pop store near us. Boise is not there yet.
Nope. Yep.
And what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So moving on. That is all we have for you guys today. If you would like to hear more about our nerdy shenanigans or other, whatever the heck that we talk about, you can find us on TikTok at Dicentric Games.
If you'd like to share any of the quirks that Magic has hidden in their cards, join the Discord in the description. Or if you have questions or suggestions for the show, please leave a comment or send us an email.
If you have your own favorite graveyard hate or you have anything to say about the cards that we talked about today, Deathrite Shaman obviously being the better one, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you guys.
That's rude. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your week.
Click all the buttons.
Do all the things.
And we'll see you next time. Bye!